think I spoke too much.
No, that's perfect. So, after you got passed out from your film school and before making Nangal, have you worked somewhere like as an AD or have you made your short film?
Mm. So, once I finished film school, I joined a television network where I directed a lot of documentaries, a lot of short form content for them for about 3 years. Again, an experience where I met some of my closest friends in that 3 years. Um, I've traveled around India like never before. I shot in Arunachal Pradesh for 66 days. I shot in Rajasthan for 48 days. I shot in Goa for 22 days. And I shot all over Tamil Nadu for about 30, 40 days. You know, that was the best way to travel across India because you're also working. If you just like that travel, nobody's going to first give you the money. And second, you don't know after 2 days, you're like, what will I do? But that experience traveling the country and the thing about television is you shoot every day. Some days you're good. Some days you feel like what crap is this? But you have no option. You shoot on a daily basis. That taught me a lot in terms of keeping myself excited. And I think television is where I learned my visual style, which is what happened was we were shooting something, and at some point I edited a music video that we call like we shot a music video with my editor. I sat and edited the music video. For whatever reason, we were shooting in three cameras, and I got a silhouette. My AD got an angle which was half lit. The DOP got an angle which was flat lighting. Right? It is nobody's mistake. It has just happened that we got positions like that. So when you edit, naturally you don't use the flat lit stuff. So you use maximum of the silhouette and the half lit. So the cinematographer came and saw the edit, and he was extremely angry with, rightfully so. But see, for me, the music video is more important. The output is more important as opposed to who shot it. So what happened was I changed the edit, and then we had a thing where we had a small fight, and the cinematographer was like, "I am unhappy with the edit." He was a friend, so I told him, yeah, I know. Don't try to act as if you know everything. Just get out and stuff." All those silly childhood children like fight happened, and I went to my boss, Mr. Bala Kailasam, who was again the greatest boss that I could have asked for. I told him like a prick that, "Sir, I don't want to work with any cinematographers anymore." He said, "Why?" I said, "No, sir. I'm going to shoot on my own." He said, I think he had too many things. So he said, "Okay, do whatever you want." The next day, I take the camera, I go, I stand on set, and I realize it is a bloody difficult job. And then I'm like, what have I done? Like, why did I go and tell my boss this? And why did I fight with my friend? I'm like, what rubbish have I done now? I have to do all the work myself. And I'm, see, if I tell the cameraman I want a long shot, he keeps a long shot. If somebody tells me camera is not good, I'll be like, I told him long shot, that's all he was capable of. Easy. But now you can't do that. You're stuck. Again, I think that is also very important in my life because during those short documentary phases, I learned what visual language I like. I like a lot of cinematography from uh, what is the Revenant cinematographer's name? Emmanuel Lubisky. I like his cinematography a lot. Um, I like a lot of handheld stuff. So it helped me figure out how to get it. And then it taught me how stupid I've been as a director, not able to explain to my cinematographer what I want. Assuming that he has to understand it without me telling him what I want. And like, hey, and the handheld, I have to gritty. You just say I just need it to be gritty and handled. What will he do? Right? Explain the shot, explain the sequence. And then I'm like, good. I learned like a lot. I learned a lot because I shot my own stuff for the next 1.5 years before I worked with another DOP. That 1.5 years taught me everything about, yes, direction is this, but there is another direction which is beyond what you have learned in film school. That I learned. Once I learned that, I think my respect for the art form, cinema, everything grew multiple folds. Not to say that I was a very sincere guy during the first 3 years. First time you make money, first time you discover you have freedom, and first time you realize you can actually go and have late night parties, and nobody can actually ask you a question because you're a working guy. So again, I think those kind of lazy, uninspired faces are very important. So me and my couple of friends who are now, again, they've all done their first film. Very, I'm not going to name them, but very, very, very respected right now. We all are now respected, but there was a phase when all we did was just party, while away time, waste time, go to the office in the television channel, see which edit table is free, and go under the edit table to sleep. The editors will save us. They'll be like, I'll tell them, bro, hide, 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 and we'll sleep there. And when we snore, they will kick us and wake us up. And I've done all those things. I've done all nonsense as possible because there you get to a phase where it's not inspiring anymore. You're doing it for the money because you need a salary. But you also want to do all idiotic things because you're lazy and you don't know how to engage your mind and stuff, right? But those things, when it kind of came to a point where I was doing that way too often, and I was looking for only for the parties and stuff as opposed to the work, I knew I had to quit the company. I think it's done. My job phase is over. I quit my company. I started a production house, and then you realize how difficult getting one client is for money. Then you realize I shouldn't have gone to the parties. I should have saved money. Why did I do all these things? Why did I do all these things? What am I? Who am I? What a rubbish person I am. What a failure I am. All these things came, and I'm glad it came because when I started the company, I started along with a friend of mine called Shruti. She was into animation, I was into filmmaking, so we started a company together. The first year, 365 days went by. We the total amount that we made that year was 16,000 rupees. That's how bad my first year in my company
How
was.
many
We
people
had
were
an
there?
office space,
How many people were there?
two, three, five.
Oh.
Obviously, me and Shruti we didn't take 1 rupee. There is nothing to take. And two people were working full time, and we had to pay them a salary of, I think, 9,000 rupees per head. They were just out of college, so for them it was a great opportunity. And so Shruti bore most of the expenses that year because I blew up all my savings. And after I blew up my savings, they called me and they said that I didn't even know that I was paying for Provident Fund, PF. I didn't even know that they were cutting that money in my salary. That is how stupid I was. And they called me and they told me that PF you have about something, a lakh and a half or something. Even then, my brain didn't work. I took that and I again went and partied. So that is how bad I was. So it was horrible. And after the first year, uh, we made our first proper check of 2.5 lakh rupees. And that is when, after that, I took 25,000. I gave Shruti 25,000, and we were like, okay, something. And then after that is when you learn what it is to run a company, what it is to be a entrepreneur. Because, like, I'm sure, like most of the silly kids. When I saw the social network, I also wanted a card which said "I'm CEO, bitch." I in fact had a. I told my friend Shruti to draw something where she drew a beautiful, a lot of things like somebody filming the Joker and everything. In that, she writes there was a card that she drew which said "I'm CEO, bitch." And then after a couple of years, I was like, no, entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. Being a business guy is not easy. The only thing that you can say is that I don't need to go to my office on time. But what you don't say is I am in the office 24/7. There is nothing else there for me. That is something I learned. But again, I'll not give that experience for anything else because I started the company when I was way too young, and I learned it the hard way too young because at that point I at least had the energy to pursue it, continue. Yeah, we had quite a few ups and
Just
downs and ups and
how old
downs.
were you at the time?
I think 23, 24. Yeah. As I said, no, I was way too young to do these things. And see, again, I'm the only thing that I felt I shouldn't, I mean, have done is I grew up a little too fast because when I was 24, 25, I was acting as if I was 50 because I need to go and meet CEOs and stuff. So I started dressing in formals. I used to go and meet, and I was, so I was a very, very, very short-tempered, hot-headed person. That I'll never do that to the CEOs, but the other, the other guys that I dealt with were also like senior people, but then they didn't know because I'm on the heavier side and I look a certain way. They all thought I'm also older, which worked to my advantage. So a lot of anger, a lot of fights, and like my arguments were if somebody does something a little off than what we are trying to do, I will not be like, no, 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 you can't do that. That's never how I. It'll immediately go to who the fuck do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? Don't fuck my project. It used to be that bad. So imagine to a normal person who's working in a corporate job, if you speak like this, they'll not know how to respond, right? Uh, I used to do that a lot, and it used to be so argumentative and stuff, and I always was in that zone of trying to make money, and I used to be unapologetic how I was behaving with others. I think it's a good thing because I kind of got the projects after that. But then you also realize it takes a toll on you because you, after a point, you're like, I am not a happy person to be around with. And uh, yeah, those things all happen. But yeah, but I think that also made me grow up a little faster. That I always felt 10, 15 years older than what I was.
At that time, you were running a
Uh,
company as well, so there was a
yeah,
lot of pressure as well.
yeah. I mean, pressure is just to make some money. It's as simple as that. It's not like you had $1 million deal that you had to break your head or no. It was basically to get like about 30, 40,000, 50,000 rupees a month so that you can pay the salaries, take some 10,000 bucks back home. It was as simple and as naive as that. But like all you need is some persistence and stuff. We just perceived, and slowly things started opening up and stuff. And then I also learned how to handle people, how to deal with people, how to deal with CEOs. How do you convince your way? How do you tell them your vision for something? That again really helped me a lot. It helped me in understanding a lot of marketing, a lot of what you should do. And as all these things were happening, I got two, three very steady clients. Who was very steady, very respectful. They were all seniors in the industry. You also start learning a lot from them, and then touchwood things started shaping. And yeah, it's still a lot of grit work because now that I've made my film, it's been a long time since I've done ads and stuff. Because once you start making films, you realize what joy it is to work on films long format, shooting for 40 days, 50 days. So your mind is wanting more of that experience. So I'm like, okay, my mind is telling me something. I mean, whatever I've always thought of, or whatever things, however things have moved, it's always gone for the best, right? So now I'm in a zone where I'm going with the flow in terms of, yes, we have a company now. It has like two, three wonderful, amazing clients who are very, 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 very understanding of me making films, yet being respectful. I try to make sure that I don't overstep and I don't take advantage of them and stuff. Not to say that I was wise all the times. There are some great clients that I've lost because I couldn't be present. I wish I wish I had more time to be present for their projects as well. But I've lost a few clients. Of course, we all parted in good terms, but it hurt. It kind of felt like, it's difficult running a company and also making a film where I shot the film, I wrote the film, I edited the film, I executive produced the film. I basically took all the challenges onto me. I mean, I'll have no other way because I wanted it, and in my next film also, I'll do all the things myself because I'm a lazy fellow. You just tell me to sit and you give me a nice cup of tea and give me snacks every 10 minutes and say direct. You're going to get nothing. And I think I'll end up sleeping a lot. So I prefer having a lot of work in my hand that you don't have any time to think much, because I know that I'm a lazy fellow, so I'm trying to do as much as possible to keep myself as active, and I'll not trade that for anything else. So, but yeah, but running a company is still, it's still, every day is a new day of sorts, because I think it's been like I started the company in 2014. So this May, it'll be 10 years of my me starting my company. I'm still in 10 years. I've learned a lot, but I still have a long way to go. Long, long, long way to go. But yeah, but that's also a challenge I've put for myself, because now I need to shift the company to a filmmaking company. So, and the plans of, we have started planning that, and in probably 2 3 years, we'll that'll be a filmmaking company, proper filmmaking company, where we make a lot of films for myself, for other filmmakers and stuff. So that's the plan. But like, and I'm ready for that entrepreneurial grid, because that is the only thing that is there. You can't do much. Even if you get, even if somebody invests, let's say 50 crores on the company, it's not like my job is done. Then the job becomes tougher, because you need to make sure it is the 50 crores is spent correctly, and then you also get the money back. So I think it's a full-time job. I think I'm just trying to see how much can I push myself, where I don't want to burn out, I don't want to break down. At the same time, I want to keep maximum time, effort, concentration on making my films, writing and directing my films. At the same time, I also want a company to run, so that it creates a safe zone for creative minds to come and just, read, write, watch films and stuff. We are in that zone, that transitioning zone now.
Okay. Let's talk about Nankar now. How the idea came, what was your experience while shooting it? Please.
So the Naangal idea came because Naangal is semi autobiographical, right? It's based on me and my childhood and my parents and everything. But obviously, it's a dramatized version of the story, and a lot of cinematic liberties have been taken. But the inspiration for the story was during the pandemic. The first lockdown was announced, 15 days. So it was like a sudden holiday for us. So the first 15 days, I just whiled away time sleeping, getting up late, watching films, eating, sleeping, eating, sleeping. Because if you're the only person who's jobless, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
When the entire world is jobless, then you can enjoy, because you know that nobody else is moving forward in life. Everybody's stagnant.
Yeah.
So 15 days was great, and then it became scary because you started seeing information and you were like, okay, it's not, it's becoming darker, it's becoming sadder. And WhatsApps, what used to happen, people sharing information after information, information after information. And then you were scared, you wear a single mask, it became double mask. A lot of things were happening. With all these things, I didn't know what to do. And the only thing I thought was, well, let me go back to how things were in my childhood, because none of these things were there. I took Tintin and I started reading Tintin first. And then I'm like, how lovely it is that we are watching. I'm reading Tintin and just so beautiful. And then I started reading Asterix. And then I'm like, oh my god, this is what I used to do as a child. And this is so lovely and stuff that I wish I had a chance to go back. Tintin, Asterix, again. And then I was thinking, like, what a wonderful life I had, right? And then I'm like, it was not really a wonderful life, because there was so much of pain and suffering that we were all going through. But I still feel that uh, the beauty around. So this is how I famously tell the story that I'm sweeping the house, but in a beautiful landscape. That was my life. uh, Out of all the difficult paths that the entire family was going through, we were in the most beautiful, serene place in the world possible. So that stuck to me. That for me, sunrises, the mist coming in, the shafts of Ooty, all those things are very integral because I've seen it and I love it. But what was happening is also not really the happiest of moments, right? So I somehow thought that, oh, what a wonderful story it'll be if I can shoot the film in OT. It's misty, the children are there, they're running through the estate. Oh, what a lovely thing. From there, see, like every possible child, what happens is you grow up with certain biases, right? Like for example, if your parents scold you and they don't let you play, you think they're evil people. When your father is very strict on you and doesn't allow you to go anywhere and forces you to study, you always think that they are all evil people who want to spoil your life. Everyone goes through that, right? I went through that also. For us, it was a little more dramatic in the sense that we were going through uh, stuff which was a little more challenging than a regular family, because it was a broken family and a lot of things were happening. My dad was going through his professional stuff where he was trying to deal with a lot of things. My mom was going through her thing, and we were left alone, and we were trying to live our own lives, and all those things were happening. uh, but in all these difficulties, you know in all these possible fights and arguments and hatred and everything that was growing, what also happened was my dad took us to maximum films. If these things had not happened, we would have probably owned a television at home. Accessing TV stuff would have been much easier. That anticipation to go to the movies wouldn't have been there. You know, and when you can't afford to go to movies a couple of weeks, when you feel like, shit, man, I've been waiting all through the week only to watch a film, and it's not happening. I need to wait for one more week. Was a long time. And as I'm telling this, I'm feeling how it used to feel when you realize that one week you're not going for a film and you go back to the same routine of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no movie. Then again, Monday, Tuesday. you feel empty, right? And as whatever we were going through, I'm not telling what we went through because I want you to see the film. Whatever was happening to us, it was very difficult. And the most difficult part was we don't get to watch the films. Then I realized how beautiful life is, that the thing that you started, the situation and your parents, at that point when you started hating on them, right? Hating on my father, hating on my mother, because nobody is there, we are alone, all those hatred also gave birth to the most beautiful thing that can happen to someone like me, which is films. When I thought of this, I'm like, there is, maybe there is a film here, because the situation and the people who basically I grew to uh, hate, because as stupid teenagers, that's what you do. You also learned to love cinema. And it's very interesting that in the process of making my first feature film, hatred towards my father, mother, the situation gave birth to my love for cinema, where I gave everything to cinema, which started from watching films, then slowly wanting to make films, then making films. When I'm making my first film, what cinema did for me is it slowly turned the ball and saying, now you understand your parents better. I've started understanding midway through the shoot, I started understanding my father, my mother, everyone but better, that it's almost like cinema is like a teacher telling me, now you fall in love with your parents again. So from so much of hatred, you realize, see, my guru always, my teacher Hariharan sir always tells that the opposite of love is not hate. Because to hate something, you need to know what is love. Or to love something, you need to know what is hate. The opposite of love is cynical. Because if you're cynical, you are never going to love anything, you're never going to let anything happen. Right? I'm glad I was not cynical about my parents, the situation and stuff. I'm glad that I hated on them, because the more I hated them, the more stronger I fell in love with them again. And it's so surprising that hatred gave birth to cinema, and cinema gave me back my love for my parents and my siblings again. I mean, this I never expected, and I am not a philosophical person. I am not a deep thinker like this. That's how Naangal happened. And the best thing was, even when I got the reactions from the audience, they were all feeling that, because the film starts, and what I can tell is, we it's a child's approach towards seeing his father as a larger than life evil. Like, there's always a visceral tension in the entire episode with the father. So everyone thinks that, oh, Avinash hates his father. Actually, it's a love letter to my parents, to the difficult times, because I don't think I can even fathom what they went through, right? The times and stuff. You can probably try to understand, but you're not there. You are not in that situation. You will never be able to understand what they went through. It's in a way trying to write a love letter to them, saying that I don't know what you guys went through. I'm trying to understand. I think I understand, but my love language is making films. I can't call them, and I mean, you would say that you're talking to me so nicely. Why can't you call your father and mother and tell, oh, Amma, Appa, I love you? Ugh, where is the drama in that? Right? I'm sure my father knows that I love him. I'm sure my mother knows I love her, and I'm sure my siblings know that I love them a lot. But words are the worst. Companion to accompany you when you want to say the most profound things. And I chose cinema because In all my, hopefully, when I get to make a lot more films after this, everything will slowly, like, what I'm hoping is with every film, I'm able to write a lot more love letters to them. That would be something that I'll really be proud of. So when you get to see all my films, how many ever I get to make, I hope I make 100 films. But when you get to see at least 100 of my films in the end, you kind of realize, oh, this is what he was, or this is what he was thinking. Because I think the most uh, when I write, or if I feel like compelled to write a story, that means it's way too deep in me. Like I'm currently writing a love story. I'm not revealing too much. Not It's not a love story. It's a love friendship story between a boy and a girl. Again, with something that happened to me, I'm processing the information. The For me, my way to process information is write a story. As simple as that. So what am I feeling? I don't know. When I finish it, I'll know what I'm feeling. So either way, I can tell you that it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful friendship love story, a love friendship story, whatever you call it. I'm So that's how I process it. So Naangal was. I'm glad I did Naangal first because I just completely surrendered to the characters, the story, and the entire feeling of being honest.
Okay.
You know.
How long it took to make the film, like the whole shooting, writing, editing, everything?
So O- October 15th is when I gave the first draft, 30 pages, to my producer. He read that, I think, in a week's time, and he loved it. Uh, so at that point, I was trying to make another film with some other producer, and we were waiting for the dates to come in. And my producer, Mr. Raju, called me saying that, hey, listen, I really loved the material that I read. When do you think we can start? So sometimes my brain does things that, or my mouth tells things that my brain is processing, but my heart is still waiting for. Heart is like, dude, calm down. I told him, let's go to shoot on December. He said, oh, really? I'm telling, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I said, sir, no, sir, I will write the screenplay by November 15th, 20th. Then we figured December might be too early to cast and stuff, way too early. And I told him, okay, then let's shoot after Pongal because that's supposed to be a good time. They say that some type or a cousin, they say, where during one phase they don't do much. So I said, okay, then the thing is, I told him, okay, let me start writing. I'll start casting. I started doing everything parallel. So 27th of October 2022, we were sitting in Bangalore. We finalized the budget. We shook hands and we said, let's do the film. November 15th, I call Mr. Abdul Rafe for an audition. He's the first guy I cast. He plays the father. November 27th, I submit the screenplay. December 3rd, I leave for prep. We prepped for about 40, 45, 42, 43 days. And Jan 17th, the entire team started coming in. Jan 16th and Jan 18th, we started the shoot. We finished the shoot by March 6th. March 17th, we wrapped up the accounts and everything in Ooty. We came back to Chennai on March 17th, and I realized I love Ooty. And 10 days, we were just kind of syncing the sound and everything. And again, April 1st, we again go back to Ooty. So April till May, by April 16th, we were done with the edit, the 4 hour 20-minute cut, and we also had additional cuts for it, like a 3 hour cut and a different version and stuff. We finished all the editing by 24th or 25th of April. My producer came on the 5th of May. That was a very interesting process because, I mean, others say I like the film, I don't like the film is fine, but my first film's producer, we also know each other for about 10 years, 10, 12 years now. It's his first maiden production, and he's believed in me like nobody's business. He's a cinematographer, he's a very experienced person, and here I am as a amateur guy telling him that I want to shoot my own film. So he speaks to his mentor, one Mr. Bhaskar sir in from Bangalore, and Mr. Bhaskar sir tells him, if you trust him, let him do. And because once the guru says, my producer is like, I can't refuse it. So guru's told it, so you go and do it. Again, a lot of vote of confidence on I can do it and stuff. I think all these things put a pressure on me because he's sitting and watching the film. And I clearly remember he put a pen, a book next to him. He just sat correctly and he played. Within 40 seconds, he pressed pause and he wrote something. I am sitting behind, I am like, oh my god, I'm done. He's going to slap me, he's going to cry, he's going to sue me, he's going to file a case on me. You know how the brain thinks, no? It's a devil's workshop. It just makes you think of the worst things. He saw the entire first half. He pauses when the interval he pauses. He gets up. He turns back and looks at me like this. I am like, okay. Like, gets up. He slowly goes that side. I'm looking at him and I'm looking at my ADs, Praveen and Raghav, who were sitting next to me, and they were part of everything through. They were there through all the things. We are looking at each other. We are like, did we just fuck up the entire film? I'm like, if he says this is fucked up, what will I do? I don't know what to do. And then he slowly comes, very dramatic, very slow. He comes and he looks at me. He's like, "Can I give you a hug?" I said, "Sure, sir." And he hugs me and he says, "I'm very happy that whatever feeling I got when I read the first 30 pages, the film is better." I'm like, "Sir, why couldn't you tell this before?" Then he said, "It is really heavy. You feel so emotional. You feel so vulnerable. And for you, you're normal. For us, it's not. You have to give us some time to process it." I'm like, "Okay, sir, I have some tea, coffee, and everything. Shall we see the second half?" He said, "No." I said, "Why, sir?" He said, "No." He said, "Dude, I can't process the second. I can't take it. It's such a hard hitting film." I said, he said, "Tomorrow morning I'll watch it." Okay, then we had a nice party that day. Next day morning again he comes. He keeps the paper. Now it's even more stressing because if you say the first half is bad, I could have said the second half is better. He said first half is good. Now I'm like, will the second half work or is it actually bad? He sits, he writes notes after notes after notes. I am like, oh my god, it is gone. He hates on everything. I mean, the same thing, it didn't improve. And this time he went to a corner. He was there for much more than the last time and really broke. I was out. I'm like, dude, last time at least 5 minutes he was outside. Now he's there for 15 minutes. He's thinking of some financial calculations or something. I don't know. We were all waiting, 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 waiting. And then he slowly walks and comes. And then he's like, I'm like, thank you, sir. And then I said, "Sir, why this anticipation?" He said, "No, no, no, I'm very emotional. I would have broken down a couple of times. I just controlled myself. I didn't want to cry in front of you guys. It is very emotional." But of course, he had some great pointers. And the pointers were not really the film, it was basically the edit pointers. Certain things don't cut too fast. You know, pace it out a little. It's okay because the film is beautiful. Let hold on to shots. So those things he gave me a lot of good suggestions and stuff. So yeah, from the start till the edit got over, it was very efficient. Then the sound took a little bit of back and forth. because we had three versions of the film. We had to mix everything in Dolby and a lot of foley and a lot of things because it's live sound. It's even difficult to do the foley because if it's a dubbed sound, whatever you give is fine, it works. But for live sound, you'll have to match the live sound in the foley. You can't just give me clean sounds, it will not work. So a lot of those things had to be done, and we took a lot of time to mix the film as well because again, we do a lot of dubbing mixing. It's easier. Dialogues are in one level, music is in one level, sound effects here and there good. But for a film like ours, it took a lot of work because every nuance we had to work, and the music played a major part in my film where my best friend of I don't know how many years, eighth standard we met in 2003. So it's like probably 21st year of our friendship. So he is my composer. So we always drummed in eighth standard. He used to play the drums. By then I was already a genius filmmaker in my head. So I asked him, "What do you do?" He said, "I play the drums." I said, "You play the keyboard. You become a music composer. I will become a director." He said, "Okay." From then on, we are music director and director friends. And then we went through multiple phases with him. His name is Ved Shankar. We went through multiple phases of. So he is the guy who I think he told his dad, "I want to be a composer," and his dad was so kind to get him like a nice system with Fruity Loops and Ableton and all those earlier softwares. And he'll compose a song. He'll call me. We were in what 11th and 12th. That's when you feel like you're a director. So I'll go from my home to his house, and his mom will make some yummy coffee or some chocolate drink or something. Oh, it's a free chocolate drink to drink. Drink that. Go sit in the studio, and it's like the most silliest thing that two people think that they're the genius is working. And I give suggestions. He'll tell something. I'll be like, give me an electronic something something something. We started out like that, like silly people, and from then on, like I went to pursue filmmaking. He went to pursue music, sound engineering, and music. And then he did a couple of films, and then he got married and he started working on the family business. And uh, yes, he kept doing films, but it was, you know, he took his time and stuff. So when I got the film opportunity, I called him and I'm like, dude, will you be able to do it? And he really was keen to do it, but I think he had way too many things happening in his business and stuff. So he was like, if I commit, I have to do it, and it's also your film, so I can't not do a proper job and stuff. So those kind of confusions were there. But then I think we are way too close to each other that we can't let. Like I hate if somebody gives him a music opportunity if it is not me. I'm like, what does that director know, idiot? Like that is. I'm sure he would have killed me if I had hired some other composer. We are way too close, and with us, what happens is we can openly talk to each other. Maybe with other composer, I'm not sure. I've worked with a couple of them, but they're also very good to work with. But it's always good when you have your best friend working with you, right? So again, working with him was a very great experience because so he has two lovely children. He composed the entire film in his children's playroom, which is filled with toys. So he has a studio in a little farther away, but the thing is because he had his business to take care of, he did his business and he used to come and work in his house so that it's easier. So I I go to his house. He says, come up to the bedroom. I go to the bedroom. He said, hey, just outside the bedroom, which used to be his balcony, they've made it into the children's playroom. He said, come there. I go inside and it's filled with toys. His daughter is playing. His son is throwing things up. This fellow is sitting in a car exactly like this. He has a laptop. He has a small keyboard. He has his headphones. He's working. And then I come. He just pull in his son's bean bag. He tells me to sit, and he plays. I think the greatest joy is when I was walking to his room. I was scared because other composer you don't like, you can say, boss, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Here it's your best friend. One, because obviously when I called, he came to Ooty to see the film the first time. I was piss scared because others say my film is not good, is fine. But my best friend telling us will probably cut the friendship. You know, I'm sure he also was worried about that. But thank God he loved the film, and he was the first guy to. So he saw the film. He went back to his hotel room. He slept. The next morning we met for breakfast, and he's one of the earliest people in my who saw the film, who spoke a lot about himself as a father and his father after watching the film. And he's not somebody who usually talks so emotionally and all. And when he did this, I knew that we have tapped into something which I am not able to uh, comprehend, probably because I'm not married, I don't have children, I don't understand that side of stuff. But my friend, but Ved really helped me understand that okay, it works. So I go, I sit, he gives me the headphones. He looks at me, he's like, okay, this is the moment. We'll have to see what happens. And I hear it. I told him, I think the music is going to work simply because I don't remember my reference track. When you edit, you play some Hollywood tracks just to get that feeler, no? I didn't remember what track I put. I'm not able to remember it again. I said, dude, this is brilliant. Then, see, he worked on the entire 4 hour, 20-minute cut in 4 days. He finished the tune. So what happened was, first off, we heard few suggestions, comments, and then he worked again. And I think by the first half, he actually understood what I want. The second half was a masterful composing session where every reel I'm like, this is brilliant, brilliant. And I used to like, we are best friends, but it's not like we are the hugging friend. We don't do that. We don't even shake hands. Like, we never do that. So sometimes when we shake hands, we feel like, okay, awkward. That's how we are. We are the best friends, but we are like that. And I suddenly started patting his back saying, brilliant, brilliant. This is what I like about him as a composer and a friend, because he's like, what the hell? Second half he told I'm brilliant. First half he didn't tell I'm brilliant. I'm going to rework. And then what he does is he reworks on the first half. And then he said, bro, listen to everything once. I'm like, hey, brilliant, brilliant. Then he said, everything is brilliant now. I'm happy. So that was a great session with him. And what he also did was we recorded the Firdos Orchestra in Dubai. Mr. A.R. Rahman's. I think he's mentoring the orchestra. It's an all women orchestra, right? We had about 30, 38, 39 minutes of live music to be recorded, right? And it's not like we had too much money to shell out that we can take 5 or 6 sessions and just while away time. No, we could only afford one session. So what my genius composer did was he composed everything. He wrote he along with an orchestrator, one Miss Anjana, they wrote the score entirely. They sent it to the orchestra 3 4 days ahead so that they have time to practice. And the entire score was live recorded in a record time of 7 hours. And Firdos orchestra was so professional, so brilliant. And so I heard the tunes, right? His composing tunes. Suddenly, when you see the orchestra playing it, we are we are listening to it in the recording room and we are crying. I am crying because I've not heard such beautiful stuff in my life. And I'm looking at my friend. He's like, "What?" I said, "You're actually a genius composer. I didn't know this is what you composed." He asked me like, "What did you think I composed?" I said, "I don't know. It was not sounding like this. It sounded brilliant, but this is like way too cool." And they also recorded with 40 microphones. So you're recording, it's like a spatial microphone and all, and they beautifully mixed it for the Dolby Atmos. So it's not direct, it's like spreading through the entire surround system and stuff. So that was a very cool time recording Firdaus Orchestra. And they were really sweet people. The musicians were really extraordinarily talented, very kind, very sweet, and so damn professional. They knew that we had a limitation. They could have said, no, we can't do it. They gave it their everything. In 7 hours, they finished the entire recording. And it was so perfect. So again, that's I think one of the greatest experiences we have had when we recorded the music for this film, and I'm glad that me and my friend we met in when we were in our eighth standard. We got to pursue our dreams together. So that's like it's like I mean it's just a beautiful thing that happens sometimes. As kids, you dream of something and then you actually do that together. You're like, nice. So yeah, overall, I think the sound took a little more time because of Foley and mixing, and it's a 4 hour, 20-minute film. So there's a lot of work to be done. So I think by August end, by September, we were done with the film, and then we again graded it in Chennai. We again finished the grading in 15 days with this company called Craftworks and my colorist, Mr. Yugendra. Again, so with see the thing is we have met some such great, wonderful people in this making of the film. So usually in a DI suit, you don't talk, you silently grade. I told him early on, boss, if I'm going to sit with you for 15, 16 days, I can't not be silent. See, you hardly ask me questions, right? I don't know how long I'm talking. I realized it was daylight. Now I realized it is night. I'm like, how long have I been speaking? I don't know what I spoke also. So I told the colorist, boss, I need to talk. He looked at me, he said, sir, I also like to talk. We were having such a great time grading the film. We kept joking through the grading session. And my associate cinematographer, Anish, he one day flew down to Chennai and I told him, come for the session. He came and sat for the session. During the break, he's like, sir, இப்படியெல்லாம் யாரும் பேச மாட்டாங்க. He's a Malayali with them. He tells me, இப்படிலாம் யாரும் பேச மாட்டாங்க சார் கிரேடிங்ல. Which translate, nobody is going to talk, nobody will speak like this and all in the grading. And I looked at him, I'm like, I know, Anish, but if you don't want me to talk, if you want me to sit silently, I will sleep in the grading room, because dark, nice sofa to lean back, no light, and I'm like, it's the greatest thing that you can give me is the grading room. So we used to have fun because my ADs were all there. Praveen and Raghav were there. So at every instant, we'll be looking at each other to see who's sleeping. And Raghav is the guy who slept the most. And then he'll sleep and he'll immediately look at it like, oh, I'm seeing it. So we again had a great time grading because Mr. Yugendra has worked on a lot of film based, celluloid based, film roll based grading as well when he started out. So he kind of got what we were trying to do. Though we shot in digital, our grading is very raw. I don't like to overgrade it. I don't like to overcolor it. So he got it. He got it, and after that it was a smooth thing because we had about 45 days to grade it. We finished it in 16 days. And again, we had our post production supervisor, Mr. Prasad, who was again another gem of a guy who we met because we had a little bit of mild CG portions done, but it is not CG like not a building CG. It is mild removal of this, mild removal of that, just a few corrections, and he was monumental in helping us get all those things so beautifully that even now I don't remember what CG we did. So he's the work is like so good. So yeah, in all, I think we finished it by the first week of October. And I think the print was delivered to Mami by the 15th or something like that. Yeah, so the world premiere of Mami happened exactly a year. So 27th October 22, me and the producer shook hands. 27th October 23, we were in Mumbai to present the film. So, yeah,
1 year we can say on this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when people in India can see the film.
I am not sure because we will be taking it to a few more festivals because it'll really help us get the visibility and I mean, we are going to talk to a lot of good cinema loving, you know, producers, directors, sales guys in India, and we'll kind of make a plan. And I think the year end would be a wonderful uh, time to release the film because by then we would have hit a couple of more festivals. And I mean, that's what we are planning. We are not really sure of it, but there are some wonderful festivals who have asked us for the film. So if everything goes well, we'll be able to take it to some beautiful festivals, meet some beautiful people. Uh, Basically, taken all these global experiences to come back home to make the next film, which I'm starting very soon. So yeah.
And last question, any recommendation you want to give your favorite films? Few films, top five films, if you have.
Oh. Uh, I'll tell you top five. Okay, let me do this. I'll give you a top five. I'll try to give you a top five, and then I'll give you all the films that I see multiple times, so that I get inspired to watch films. So you can maybe put it in two parts. Um, I think I'm going to take Godfather and Godfather Part 2 as one film, so that I have space because I think it's a film. I think it's one film. I think that's the best film I think that's been made. Um, I will bring in Interstellar as my second favorite film, after which probably Tree of Life. Um, and there's a Vittoria D. Sica film called Umberdo D. If I'm pronouncing it right. So that is my third film, fourth film. And I'll go with Tenet for the fifth film. So, of course, in the next segment, I'll tell you all the films I like. But the first five films is very difficult for me because Godfather, yeah, I'll, I spoke enough and more about Godfather. I think Christopher Nolan is the greatest director, at least from my point of view, he's the greatest director, writer ever, ever, ever. Uh, I'm his biggest fan. I have all his posters at my office. I have his screenshots on my phone. That's his screenshots are there. And I think Interstellar is one of the greatest ever uh, father-daughter story made, but disguised as a sci-fi. Uh, it's the greatest. It's the greatest love stories between a father and a child. Uh, I'll never forget when he drives away from his home, and then the child runs back and he's driving away, and it suddenly cuts to him, the T minus 10, 9, 8, and the music is and the music also hits in the right moment. That, oh my god, what a sequence. It's one of the greatest films ever made. Like, even the fourth dimension, when he falls into tesseract, like, what brain, what do you, I don't know, what do you eat, what do you do? He's sucked into the black hole and he goes into tesseract and he finds the beginning. I'm like, oh my god, like, what? I still like, so I have my laptop pouch where I have a SSD hard disk. I have all Nolan's Blu-ray prints in that. Digitally bought Blu-ray prints where I can transfer it to the hard disk. It's downloaded in that. I have everything at all times with me because when I need inspiration, Nolan is my inspiration. I just fit it in. I can see. I have a Blu-ray version and I also have a wonderful system with me so that it plays, like, I think it's about 40-45 GB each film. It's like the proper Blu-ray version, so I can just watch it, and it cuts. IMAX takes over my full screen. It cuts to scope. So again, Naangal is again black and white and color. You know where it comes from, Memento. So yeah, given a choice, I like to ape whatever Nolan does. So that's why if you see, I always wanted to wear a coat and a suit and a formal shirt and a tie. The moment I knew that I'm going to Rotterdam and Rotterdam is going to be really cold, I went to the shop and I said, I'll stitch a three-piece suit. They said, what color? I said, black. Why? My guru wears black. What color shirt? I said, I want a grey, I want white, I want light blue. They said, why? Because Nolan wears the same thing. I will wear it like him and I will go. So, yeah, so that Tree of Life, because I have never seen a narrative which is that bizarre, experimental, yet so personal to me. I'm telling, including the sequence of birth when the dinosaur comes, looks at the other dinosaur, is about to kill the other dinosaur, but lets the dinosaur be. What brain? And you made me believe that this is happening in a family drama. And what a way to tell a story, what a way to move the camera, what a way to get the light. That's one of the greatest influences of Naangal, where we have shot a lot of sequences like that, uh, which will come in the next. Naangal is it's a three-part film. So when I make the next one, you will see a lot of such tree of life kind of a shots because it dwells a lot into memories and stuff. So we've shot a lot. We have shot a lot with the children, but that will come in the part 2 of it whenever we get to make it. So Tree of Life is that film where every time I watch it, I'm like, I just wish that people had the inclination to just take that film in, because it is a film that you really need to give yourself completely. You have to submit to watch the film, and it is one of the greatest visual storytelling I've seen in my life. And oh wow, what lovely! So in Nagal we have a couple of things which is a little bit of ode to Nolan, a little bit of ode to Terence Malick. Uh, I mean, when you get to watch the film, you'll be able to see the. Well, you'll clearly know if you're a Nolan and a Terence Malick fan, you'll kind of know what we have done. And I love dogs. My Nagal also has my dog Roxy playing a major role. Uh, and if not for my dogs back home, I would have probably left home long back. I don't think I would have ever gone back home. My beautiful dogs back home, which is Kathy and Benji, who are my darlings, make me want to go back home. And I have two more pets in Ooty where my mom is taking care of them, which is Roxy, who plays the lead in my film, and Kathy as well. Uh, for me, they are everything. And now I've adopted two indies in my office, which is Rowdy and Brownie. So they kind of form they are my, as human beings, you suddenly feel like you're too great, or you feel evil, you feel like I can damage anything. I think God gave us dogs to tell you that no. I think my pups, my dogs teach me how to live because they've taught me how to love unconditionally, which has also helped me deal with certain heartbreaks that, in spite of being completely in love with somebody, you learn to let them go and you genuinely want them to be happy. And I learned that from my dogs. And yeah, so I mean, if my dream is I get to make a lot of money where I can buy about 50, 60 acres of land in a hill station where I can carry every stray dog in the world possible to bring them there and tell them this is your jungle, enjoy. That will be a dream for me. That will really be a dream. Uh, so Umberdo, I think that's the film. I'm telling it right. Of of Mr. Disika is that film when I'll never forget. I saw it in film school where this man is trying to shove away the dog. That scene is so powerful. The dog doesn't know where this man is. He's hiding and looking at the puppy, hoping that somebody takes the puppy, and the puppy runs and comes to him. Oh my god, that's. I think uh, something happens in Naangal, which is very important for my life and the love for dogs and stuff. I think that incident is left a very, very uh, deep hurt inside me in terms of if I could have done something, if I should have done something and stuff. That is a feeling I still carry like very heavily in my. It's been 24 year 25 24 25 years since that happened. Mm, yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, 24 years since that happened. But in spite of that, I'm still not able to let that feeling go away. And only recently, my one of my uncles sent me a video footage of, because I've been trying to search my original dog. So I had two dogs when I was a child. One was Kathy, a German Shepherd, and another one was Pluto. Uh, uh, I mean Pluto. I don't know what happened to Pluto because somebody told us that the guys who come to catch dogs caught Pluto and went away. And Kathy, something happened to Kathy as well. Those are two things which I'm trying to work around in terms of because those are unprocessed feelings. I thought I will process that via Nangal, but I couldn't because that hurt has gone even more. So at some point I'll try to figure out another way to process that information. But I really love dogs, and I think Umbarodi brings that feeling of what a dog means. It's a very strange film because I've not spoken about that film for a very long time. Uh, but yeah, that is one of those all-time favorite films of mine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Avinash, for joining.
How
It's
long did I speak?
2 hours. It's fine. It's okay.
Please feel free to edit it. Please feel
No,
free
no, it's
to.
going like everything.